Good evening and a very warm welcome to the inaugural session of the International Conference on Science, Technology and Public Policy for Achieving the Zero Hunger Challenge. To formally start the proceedings, we will begin with the Tamil Thai Varthu, and I request the audience to rise.
நீராறும் கடலொடுத்த நிலமடந்தை கையிலொழுகும் சீராறும் வதனமென திகழ்பரத கண்டமிதி எக்கணமும் அதில் சிறந்த திராவிடர்கள் திருநாளும் தக்க சிறு திரையுடலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே.
Today is a special occasion, and we'll also begin with a special invocation song. We can be seated for this. This is a song which is Kurayondru Millai, which was rendered by the renowned late M.S. Subbalakshmi. And the song is also special, which will be played out with video, because it was performed at the premises here when she had visited the foundation. It means, for those who are not familiar with Tamil, that we have no grievances, O Lord, and was written by the renowned Rajaji.
கண்ணுக்கு தெரியாமல் நிற்கின்றாய் கண்ணா, கண்ணுக்கு தெரியாமல் நின்றாலும் எனக்கு குறையொன்றும் இல்லை மறைமூர்த்தி கண்ணா. வேண்டியதை தந்திட வெங்கடேசன் இருக்க வேண்டியது வேறில்லை மறைமூர்த்தி கண்ணா. மணிவண்ணா மலையப்பா கோவிந்த 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 கோவிந்த. திரையில் பிழிக்கின்றாய் கண்ணா கண்ணா, திரையில் பிழிக்கின்றாய் கண்ணா. உன்னை மறையோதும் ஞானியர் மட்டுமே காண்பார். திரையில் பிழிக்கின்றாய் கண்ணா, உன்னை மறையோதும் ஞானியர் மட்டுமே காண்பார். என்றாலும் குறையொன்றும் எனக்கில்லை கண்ணா, என்றாலும் குறையொன்றும் எனக்கில்லை கண்ணா. உன்னின் மேல் கல்லாகி நிற்கின்ற வரதா, உன்னின் மேல் கல்லாகி நிற்கின்ற வரதா. குறையொன்றும் இல்லை மறைமூர்த்தி கண்ணா, குறையொன்றும் இல்லை மறைமூர்த்தி கண்ணா. மணிவண்ணா மலையப்பா கோவிந்த 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 கோவிந்த.
I'd like to invite the chairperson, MSSRF, Mrs. Madhura Swaminathan, to formally welcome the gathering.
On behalf of the trustees, the staff and the scholars of M.S. Swaminathan Research Foundation, I welcome His Excellency Dr. K. Rosaiah, Governor of Tamil Nadu. Sir, you have been a supporter of ours for many years as Finance Minister of Andhra Pradesh, as Chief Minister, as Governor, and I think your presence here today reflects the fact that you value our work, and it also places on us the onus for continuing the work being done at the foundation. We have a galaxy of speakers here on the dais, and I'm not going to welcome each of them, but I think the very fact that they're here reflects two things. One, the respect and affection they have for Professor Swaminathan, but I think also their commitment to the causes and the work of the foundation. And I think this has come through very clearly today, and I welcome them all once again. There are people outside the hall in the sites of the foundation. We are welcoming you also, and all the others present here in the hall, our partners, our donors, people from different villages who have come, who work with us. Welcome all of you to this annual day function.
Thank you, Dr. Madhura. In order to honor and welcome our respected Governor, His Excellency Dr. K. Rosaya, Honorable Governor Tamil Nadu, we request our beloved Professor to offer a shawl and flower bouquet. Thank you. Max and Belton are interns from the World Food Prize Bolog Wan Fellowship Program, who have spent about 8 weeks here at MSSRF, traveling to the tribal locations in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, and they've recently made a very interesting presentation about their work. Moving on, giving an overview of the highlights of the Foundation's activities over the past year is Dr. Ajay Parida, Executive Director.
Open. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. His Excellency, Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, dignitaries on the dais, and dear delegates and colleagues of the Foundation. Well, with a staff strength of something about 350 people, to give a glimpse of the activities of the Foundation in 5 minutes' time is going to be a terrific task. And I hope that I will be able to justify this. And later in this program, you will find the annual report of the Foundation will be released by His Excellency, and that will give the much more detailed activity of the Foundation. Just to state that MSSRF's vision is to harness science and technology for environmentally sustainable and socially equitable development, and we are following what we call a pro-poor, pro-nature, pro-woman, and pro-sustainable livelihood orientation to technology development and dissemination. We work in about 7 states of India, and that is comprising of the fragile coastal regions, biodiversity hotspots, eco-sensitive areas, agricultural distress trace, and also we work in partnership with the support of the the Ministry of External Affairs. We have some programs ongoing in Myanmar and Afghanistan. We have structured our program into 6 program area currently, with coastal systems, biodiversity, biotechnology, food security, eco-technology, information and communication technology, and climate change and gender and development being the cross-cutting issues across all the program areas. In the coastal system research, we have been working in all the coastal states, at least 4 coastal states, and this year we have restored something about 400 hectares of mangroves in both Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Maharashtra. Under the Climate Change Fund of the United Nations Framework, we have now currently undertaking a project in Krishna district for restoration of over 200 hectares of mangroves and demonstration of what we call an integrated mangrove fisheries farming system, which is an innovative approach initiated by MSSRF. We're also looking into the restoration of the degraded coastal areas due to high salinity and looking for some of the species of halophytes, as much Professor Swaminathan in the morning mentioned, for large-scale cultivation. And for long-term monitoring of the carbon sequestration effect on the mangroves, a carbon flux meter has been established in Pichapuram. And as Professor Swaminathan in the morning mentioned, our work or our facilitation of the workers with salt workers, they have now been covered under the Chief Minister's health insurance scheme. In case of biodiversity, our focus has been on 4C approach, looking conservation, cultivation, commercialization, and commerce, consumption and commerce. And we have been extensively working with the millets, with a large number of farm families for brand development in millets. And we have now something about 11 millet products are being marketed by the local communities. We are also promoting the traditional rice varieties, and now 9 seed villages has been established with something support of about 120 farmers. This year we have also taken an initiative in Wayanad to establish what we call a MS Swaminathan Botanical Garden, which will have a unique repository of various diversities present in that. On-farm conservation has been quite interesting in our area, like rice, millets, pulses, all those which are on-farm cultivation approaches are there. In case of biotechnology, I think our pioneering work on identifying the salt-tolerant genes and putting them into transgenic rice system is ongoing. We have also in the year we have also identified several new and novel genetic combinations. We are also looking into the traditional rice varieties for the micronutrient content, so that we can identify some of those varieties for micronutrient content. We are also looking into the locally, naturally occurring biofortified crops like moringa and millets for identifying the high iron rich material. And we're also demonstrating the fertilizer responsive or the agricultural practices, new strains which are being locally developed. In case of the ecotechnology program, our entire emphasis is on how to integrate the on-farm, off-farm and non-farm technologies, where we play a major role in natural resource management, including water, soil, and biodiversity. And we're also developing large number of about 6,000 farmers working on the pulses, where climate smart agricultural practices, water saving practices are being produced. And we have achieved this year something like about 85% variety and seed replacement in case of the pulses. Off-farm activities to enhance the livelihood options of the farmers are also being adopted. As again Dr. Swaminathan mentioned in the morning, we're also thinking of developing a pulse biopark where an integrated approach for storage, value addition of marketing and pulses can be taken up. In case of the food security, this is a major program where we work with exclusively women farmers, something about 6,000 women farmers from Vidarbha and Korafut. We are working, and this year roughly about 10,000 acres of farmlands are covered under the sustainable agricultural system, and about 3,000 kitchen gardens has been established, or nutrition backyard gardens has been established. To look into the soil and water conservation, we have undertaken 400 acres of land belonging to 101 farmers by bringing into the water harvesting structure. To enable the grassroots institutions or the communities at large to take care of the addressing major problems of the hunger and malnutrition, we have created a community cadre of about 90 community hunger fighters who are looking into the issues of the hunger and poverty. Those community food banks is also providing what you call seasonal hunger, addressing the seasonal hunger. It is a completely community managed initiative which is undertaken. Information and communication education program is one of our flagship program, where we take it knowledge empowerment for sustainable rural development. We have fisher friend and farmer friend programs, also the health and nutrition programs. This year our reach has been something about 152,000 people in 36 districts across 7 states in India. And we have now gone from the regional languages, the fisher friend mobile applications, which received the last year's M Billionth award in the category of M Agriculture. This has been now in Tamil, Telugu, English, and shortly we'll be launching the Malayalam and Oriya version, so that it gives the local thing. We have also innovative program in association with CABI International, where we call plant doctors or plant clinic, and 72% of the farmers follows the advisory. I think there is a analysis has been done, which raises the income of something about 4,000 to 6,000 people by proper advisories given to that. And we have this National Virtual Academy for the Rural Prosperity, where this year we have inducted about 229 fellows, of which 7 fellows are from the international fellows. In case of the gender and development, as I mentioned, this is a cross-cutting thing, and gender mainstreaming and integration is being included, both including the capacity building of our own staff as well as the community members, and there are number of research projects are being developed. We're also taking single women as one of the target groups, and we're working with about 672 single women in Wardha region, included in 60 villages, and creating awareness essentially for access to the productive resources and leadership skills. And we're also promoting a large number of GRIs, or grassroots institutions across the states, and value addition and processing is also another important, essentially to take care of what type of additional income generation they can do. We have an international program called Leveraging Agriculture for Nutrition. This is a multi-country, multi-institutional program, and it addresses the agriculture and nutrition disconnect. Dr. Swaminathan has proposed what we call a farming system for nutrition model, and this is being implemented in both Koraput and Wardha. A large number of, since it is a multi-institutional partnership, large number of research project research papers has come out. And one of the most innovative things we did in this, to establish what we call a stakeholder platform or technology platform, which essentially to converge different initiatives across the thing. And we are in the process of what we call establishing the genetic garden for biofortified crops, essentially for both awareness creation and providing the material for replication in the farmer's field. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this year the output has been quite significant. You look at that, I'm not going to read the figures, but I think I'll just highlight the training and capacity building programs across the sites has reached something more than 200,000 people on a yearly basis. And this would not have been possible for all your support, the dedicated effort of my colleagues, and I thank you all for kind presence. Thank you very much.
We now come to the release of publications. Combating Hunger and Achieving Food Security is a publication that has been written by none other than Professor, and request His Excellency to release the publication. Professor Bruce Alberts will receive the first copy of the publication. And the Managing Director of Cambridge University Press, Mr. Ratnesh Kumar Jha, is invited onto the dais to pose for a photograph, please, during the time of release. We can just give the guests on the dais may please receive a copy each of the publication. Till they finish the picture. Thank you. We are going to trouble you a little bit more. The release of the annual report of MSSRF will take place now. Compressing the activities of a year in a few minutes was difficult. We tried to give more details through the publication, and you would all have soft copies of this in a pen drive in your kit, which you received at the time of registration. Presenting the annual report of MS Swaminathan Research Foundation for the year 2014-15. Request Dr. Sunita Narayan and Dr. Howard Bui to receive the first copies, please. You can just pass it round. Yeah, you can just pass it from here. You need not here. That's fine. Thank you. Time for felicitations. We'd like to invite Professor Bruce Alberts, University of California, to offer his felicitation and remarks.
Thank you. It's a real pleasure to be here on this very important occasion. I flew here from San Francisco, California, to help honor a man who has been an enormous force for good in the world. As we heard earlier today from some 30 speakers, MS Swaminathan has had a profound, highly beneficial effect on world agriculture, as well as on both the environmental and agricultural sciences around the world. In the process, he's been a leader in shaping a new field that's called sustainability science, both in the United States and in many other countries around the world. You might ask how and why this is possible, just one man having such a big effect. I've made a 5-point explanation. First of all, he's a great scientist. He trained with one of the greatest geneticists, who I actually also very much admire, James Crow at the University of Wisconsin. Had MS Swaminathan stayed in the United States, he would no doubt been a leading geneticist in the world, quite famous in academia. But he, of course, decided to come back to India to focus on a different kind of science. So the second reason why he's been so successful is his unusual focus on using his great talents to reach the unreached. Not many outstanding scientists do this. The third reason in my list of 5 is that he's been ambitious and very creative in tackling very hard problems, designing clever strategies which are designed more or less like experiments of a scientist. Because you view the world like a scientist, you're willing to take risks in the chance that you'll have a high gain, and you learn from your experiments, expecting not all of them to be successful, but these experiments are important to push the envelope of what's possible. Of course, he's also been very inspiring, which reflects all the people who are here today and all the very talented staff at the foundation who've been inspired by him and by his leadership. And of course, no one person can accomplish what the foundation has done. It requires a huge team of very dedicated and skillful people. Last but not least, he has great wisdom. As you
kind words and your presence. I'd like to invite Dr. Sunita Narayan, DG CSE and Trustee MSSRF, to speak.
Thank you, Honorable Governor. And we in the morning, I talked about Dr. Swaminathan and the role that he has played in all our lives, in all our institutions, and in this country, to make sure that we stay good, that we stay focused on the issue of poverty, and we stay focused on the issue of the need to make sure that farmers get the right price for their produce and they benefit from the gains of science. This evening, I would like to talk a little bit about the foundation that I am honored to be a trustee of. It is, I think, a very important part of Dr. Swaminathan's journey that he spoke about this morning to set up this foundation. It is a foundation which has taken a lot of his ideas, his dreams to fruition. It is a foundation which is helping to put a lot of the way that we need to connect with people. The way, I think the most powerful thing he talked about today is the issue about land to land. Not just lab to land, but land to land. And that whole idea of being able to take science to people, but also to get people to talk to each other. And to build an institution that will build these networks, that will get this engagement going, is very crucial. And I say it is very crucial because I think, as in all our institutions, as we think we have reached a point where we can sit back and relax, that we think that we have reached a point that we have got the entire country to talk about the issues of agriculture, the need for farmers to get the right price, the fact that sustainability is crucial in agriculture, you would think that MSSRF can actually sit back and say, we've done it. But it doesn't happen, because as we reach that goalpost, the goalpost shifts. And today, in many ways, the role of the foundation in the future is going to be even more critical. Honorable Governor, this morning I said that Mr. Jaitley is not the finance minister of India. And I want to repeat that in front of you just now, because the only finance minister of India is the monsoon. And if you look at it today, you're in a situation where the monsoon is becoming much more extreme. Today, more and more evidence shows that it is going to rain more, but in fewer number of rainy days. We are beginning to see more variable weather events. We are beginning to see more freak weather events. And even though we know that not one event can be linked to climate change, we know that the growing frequency, intensity of these events is definitely linked to the kind of change which will only happen more in the future. So all the work of the foundation, Madhura, all the work that the foundation is doing, whether it is on biodiversity, whether it is on eco-technology, it all means that you have to do much more of it, much faster, and at much higher scales. Because quite frankly, in the future that is looking at us, the urgency of our intervention is only going to grow. And that is why, Dr. Saab, the foundation that you have set up, the work that you have done and that you continue to do is so critical, and it will remain even more critical in this extremely changing, worrying future. A climate-risked world is what we have today, and that is a world that we have to learn to cope better with. And at the end, I keep saying that if the finance minister is the monsoon, then the farmers of India are the only ones who will teach us best how to cope with that very variable weather events that we are beginning to see. It is their knowledge, it is your way of looking at science, of connecting science with people, with science. That is what will teach us what the future, how we can change our future. So thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for impressing on us the urgency of our work and what we need to come up with, hopefully, concrete recommendations over the next couple of days. I'd now like to request Dr. Howard Bui, Director, Harvest Plus IFPRI, to offer his remarks.
Okay, that's a tough act to follow. Maybe I should have gone second. So it's a great honor to be here on the podium to greet Professor Swaminathan on his birthday. I think all I can tell you about is my personal interactions and my impressions of Professor Swaminathan. When I began at IFPRI in 1982 as a postdoctoral fellow, and as we heard this morning, that was the year that Professor Swaminathan began as Director General of IRRI. He'd already had three and a half decades, a very distinguished career at that point, and I had just finished graduate school. And at the time, the Director General of IFPRI, his name is John Meller, somebody that I'd studied his papers and looked up to quite a bit, graduate school. And he always referred to Professor Swaminathan as the leader of the Directors General of the CGIR. He was heads above everybody else and the clear leader of all the Directors General. And that was my first hearing about Professor Swaminathan. But I didn't get to meet Professor Swaminathan until 2004. We'd started this program called Harvest Plus, which was undertaking biofortification. And the Department of Biotechnology in India was investing in some research on biofortification. And Harvest Plus was invited to come to MSSRF to give some, to learn about what you were doing, give some advice, give our views on how those investments were made. And at the end of it was a 2-day meeting, at the end they held a press conference. And it was, the first point is Professor Swaminathan understood how important communications are to hold a press conference. But my overall impression was he did such a good job answering the reporters' questions. They were really tough, aggressive questions. And he just handled them beautifully, and I just said, God, I wish I could do that well in front of the press. Then I learned later that his gift is really, he's a world-class scientist, he's a communicator, and then he knows how to bring that to action, to changes in people's lives. And you don't know how rare that is. We want to do that in Harvest Plus. We do some very upstream research. We're bringing crops to farmers, and we want to have impact. And the master is here of how to bring science to having impact. We held, a year ago, we held the second global conference on biofortification in Kigali, Rwanda. We invited Professor Swaminathan to give a keynote address. I knew he wouldn't be able to make it, and I was thrilled when he agreed to come to travel all the way to Rwanda. When he came, he was somewhat tired from the journey. We of course arranged for him to have one of the special suites. We brought him to his room. He said, "No, this room is much too big. I'll get lost here." And he insisted on switching to a smaller room. Right then and there, we got him into a smaller room, and I think he had Ajay stay in the suite. And we had this was the day before the conference started, and we had some side meetings talking about pearl millet, what to do about pearl millet policy in India. He rested for an hour, and then he insisted on joining the side meeting, to talk about, pearl millet. And I was amazed at his energy. I wouldn't have had that kind of energy to do it. It was just amazing. So Professor Swaminathan, thank you for your vision, your talents, your bringing science to having an impact on our lives, and you're my role model. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Harvest Plus, incidentally, is a proud partner of this event, as is ICRISAT, and our next speaker is from ICRISAT. The other two partners being Borlaug Institute for South Asia and Nirmal Seeds. So this is a joint effort and a collective action for achieving zero hunger. I'd like to invite Dr. Rajiv Varshni, Research Program Director and Genomics Center Director at ICRISAT, who will not only pay a tribute, but has a surprise element to what he's going to say.
Thank you very much, and a very good evening to everyone. Honorable Governor Mr. Rosaya sir, and respected Sir Professor Swaminathan, and all the dignitaries on the dais, and a galaxy of scientists and colleagues and farmers and many other stakeholders in the room. So as I was introduced that I'm coming from ICRISAT, and Professor Swaminathan is always known as the father of Indian grain revolution and many other things. But at ICRISAT also today Professor Swaminathan mentioned, but I would like to mention that, he is not only the father of Indian green revolution, but also the founding father of ICRISAT. And so I would like to thank you once again for establishing ICRISAT on behalf of our Director General. And this is the picture that, as you mentioned, that when you were the DG ICR in the first few weeks, you were one of the signatory of the Constitution of ICRISAT. And subsequently in 1975, that ICRISAT Foundation stone was laid down by Mrs. Indira Gandhi, the then Prime Minister, in your presence. I am from the background of genomics, and we are very privileged to have the genomics laboratory after your name, sir. And in fact, we are very privileged that this laboratory was also inaugurated by you in 2001. And not only this, that now this laboratory is an important part of the Center of Excellence in Genomics. And at this center, with your blessings and in collaboration with large number of partners around the world, we have been doing a lot of genome sequencing and molecular breeding work. For instance, we sequence pigeon pea, chickpea, and groundnut, and pearl millet. And we also contribute to sequencing in many other genomes with the different colleagues. And you are the ambassador of goodwill, and we keep on having your guidance from time to time. Last visit you made in February 2015. So all these things indicate, and then you gave very inspirational message on the next generation genomics and the Zero Hunger Challenge. So this is really interesting to see that how these things can be merged, and only a person like of your stature can do this thing. So in summary, we have been learning a lot that, you are having wonderful level of energy, very enthusiastic, and you are having this mentoring spirit and high level of intelligence. So how this is happening? Being the geneticist, we know that all these traits are controlled by genes, and then these genes are present in the genome. So basically the genome is the secret of that how life works. So we thought, let's figure it out, that what is that basis that Professor Swaminathan is so much energetic, he are having so all these things. So what we did, that at our genomic center, we sequenced the genome of Professor Swaminathan. And so basically, and let me mention further that we have been doing this analysis, and we have been really surprised to see the gene level what are present in Professor Swaminathan. And now I would like to mention that there is a club of, you can say, that celebrities whole genome sequenced at international level, including James Watson, who started or who gave this concept of DNA, and Craig Venter, Stephen Hawking, many other people. And I'm very proud to say that now Professor M.S. Swaminathan joined the club, and he is the first Indian scientist for which now we got the genome sequence available. And we have the privilege to do this work for Professor Swaminathan. And now very quickly, that what does it mean, this genome sequence? All of us are aware about this solar system, and we know that one human genome is having 23 chromosomes, which is having about 20 million base pair DNA. And one genome is having about 10 trillion cells. So if you take the DNA from all these cells and go from one end to the other end, this distance is about 200 billion kilometers. What does it mean? That this is basically 17 times than the diameter of the solar system. If you would like to compare it further, between the distance of Sun and Earth, this is basically 4 times than that one. If you go for the distance between Moon and Earth, this is 1500 times. This means that if we would like to understand the genome, we need to travel that kind of distance, and we need to study those small letters in the form of ACGT. And we have been very successful to do this thing. We did not just cover this distance of 200 billion kilometers, rather we sequenced his genome at 30x coverage, so basically 30 times than that one. And how we did this thing? When Professor Swaminathan was with us in February 2015, I requested him, can we have your blood sample? He says, for what? We say, we want to understand those different features what you are having, we would like to understand this basis. He kindly agreed, so we took his DNA, we isolated the DNA, and as I mentioned, we sequenced the 76 gigabase per data, and then you are having those sequences in small units, ACGT, then we analyzed. So now, let me go quickly that we all are aware he's an inspirational leader, energetic, courage to face challenges, and having this mentoring and nurturing spirit, very motivating. Why this is happening? We try to understand some of the genes, and this is the gene ACT3N gene, and our Professor Swaminathan is having C allele, which provides the basis that why Professor is high energy performing person. The other thing is, for instance, if you see, and as we saw in morning, he covered all his experience for during last 90 years, and he has very sharp memory. So this is not surprising, but even at the gene level, when we had this SCN1A gene and we have genotype of Professor AA, so this is very high level of memory. That's the reason that Professor Swaminathan is having all these things. Let's talk about something about the food habit. Let's see about this, for instance, sweets. So Professor does not need to be worried because his genes are very good. So you are having this basically heterozygous condition of those different alleles. And now even for drinking, so you can see that Professor's genotype is having A allele. So he does not need to be worried about all these things. We know that Professor Swaminathan doesn't smoke. Why? Because he is having G allele. He doesn't favor the smoking behavior. So what I'm trying to say that you can understand each and everything at the level of the genes. And now we have done a lot of analysis. So now he doesn't have any threat of the heart disease, and he doesn't have any harmful mutation, etc. So, and we are having this report. We will be giving this thing to him. So I cannot summarize each and everything. Another thing is, based on this genome sequence, you can track that from where you have come. And what we did, that we had this genome sequence, and we analyzed this genome sequence together with the available databases where we have the genome sequence from the different countries, different ethnic groups. As expected, Professor Swaminathan's genome is quite closely associated with Asian groups, not with African, European, and East Asian. Even when you go to the South Asia, then this is very much Indian. And when we have analyzed this genome from the different small fragments from the different samples from India, we could figure it out that this is coming from the Tamil Nadu state. So this is all coming out from this thing. So we already know. So I'm trying to say that, well, what kind of information you can do. So anyway, so we know that he has contributed a lot to Indian agriculture, not only Indian agriculture, global agriculture. And this was a privilege for us to sequence the genome of a man of Zero Hunger Mission and champion of Indian Green Revolution. We are very much privileged to do this work, and this is our tribute from ICRISAT to you at this occasion. And we would like to wish you a very happy 19th birthday, sir. And this work was done by the team Center of Excellence in Genomics at ICRISAT in collaboration with VGI Shenzhen. Now may I request our Director General, Dr. David Worthington, to hand over this genome sequence to Professor on his 19th birthday.
Seen professor, of course, knows how energetic he is. But since we are in scientific community, there's the proof. Requesting now our beloved professor. We've been wishing him and seeking his blessings from morning. And I think now we look forward to his presidential remarks on this occasion. It was a wonderful presentation for over half an hour, 45 minutes. And we didn't feel it a minute just because we were traveling through his life, through his journey of several decades from the time he started out on his research work till today. And what was interesting was the future of what lies ahead, the challenges ahead that Professor focused on. So we look forward to your continued guidance.
Thank you very much, Honorable Governor. With his permission, I'm talking sitting. I'm grateful to all the members in the podium and former Governor Gopal Gandhi ji, who has been a great supporter of this institution, and Tara Gandhi, who had worked here, and the distinguished participants in this important symposium, which deals with how to achieve the zero hunger target, what kind of science you require, what scientific data you require, scientific methods you require. First of all, I want to, I mentioned this morning in a fairly elaborate talk. This is the 150th anniversary of the discovery of Mendel's laws. Mendelism, 1865, it is 150 years. And the 150th year, I think Mr. Rajiv Ashni has given me my genome. And he earlier explained how complicated it is in terms of, but I'm very grateful to you, Rajiv, for what you have done and your colleagues. It's, I don't believe all the analysis, but anyway, but I think it's an interesting thing to do in terms of understanding. Particularly, I think this kind of analysis helps you to understand some of the difficulties you may come across in your life and apply corrective action wherever possible. I do not want to, because I talked at length in the morning, but we want to hear the Honorable Governor. But I want to thank the Cambridge University Press for bringing out the book. It is on hunger and how to achieve the zero hunger target and food security. I want to, I think the chairman or whoever is here from the Cambridge University Press, they have printed in a very reader-friendly way. I like, apart from the content is mine, but the get-up is theirs. And it has been done very well. And the Vice Chancellor of the Cambridge University was kind enough to write a foreword, although his office said he is not in the habit of writing forewords, but nevertheless I think he made an exception and wrote a foreword. But essentially the book deals with the genesis of the progress since independence, what happened to us before independence, the Great Bengal famine and the difficulties we went through. And we have come to a stage when the government has got the capacity to pass a resolution in Parliament, Food Security Act, making access to food a legal right, and access to food like right to information, right to food has also been added, the only country which has got such a legislation. This progress itself is a very clear evidence of how science and the farmers, these are two important components of along with the public policy, leaders like our governor here. Ultimately, as I mentioned this morning, scientists may develop methods by which we can enhance production, but whether the production can be achieved by the farmer or not depends upon, I think Sunita said, the finance minister is the monsoon. The other external factors which are responsible. They are very briefly dealt with in the book. Those who are interested in the evolution of our agriculture and also for where we are today, what are the challenges ahead, including the climate change impact and so on. You can go through it. I thank you, sir, for releasing the book. I want to thank the Cambridge University Press and their people here in India for producing the book as I said, in a very readable form, and also the Vice Chancellor of the Cambridge University for writing a foreword to the book. Above all, again, Rajiv Varshni and his colleagues, the Director General of ICRISAT is here. It has been a great pleasure to be associated with ICRISAT from its birth. I've been watching its birth and growth with great admiration. And I want to wish the Institute continued success in the work. I hope you will make genome analysis of all our Indians, not only one of them, but all of them, make it easier. Thank you very much, and thank you, sir, again, once again.
Now for the inaugural day. Now for the inaugural address and the Foundation Day address from His Excellency, the Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu.
Professor M.S. Swaminathan, Dr. Madhura Swaminathan, Dr. Ajay Farida, Dr. Bruce Alberts, Dr. Sunita Narayan, Dr. Havrat Bhai, Dr. Rajiv Varshni, Dr. Narayan Hegde, Sri Gopal Krishna Gandhi ji, distinguished invitees, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen. I extend my heartiest greetings and best wishes to Professor M.S. Swaminathan on his 90th birthday. It's a pleasure to participate in his 90th birthday celebrations program organized by MS Swaminathan Research Foundation, inaugurate the international conference on science, technology, and public policy for achieving the Zero Hunger Challenge. Release the publications MS Swaminathan, Combating Hunger and Achieving Food Security, annual report of MSSRF, and address this distinguished gathering here today. Hunger elimination has been the major goal of independent India. In 1946, and women in the entire farming community for bringing about a sustainable development in agriculture. Our farmers are going through many difficulties, largely arising due to the vagaries of monsoon and the volatility of the market. The gap between scientific know-how and field level do-how should be bridged. With the onset of the era of climate change, irrigation security is going to be vital for food security. I commend the initiatives taken by MS Swaminathan Research Foundation for choosing the technological empowerment of rural families, particularly women and youth. Information technology, biotechnology, ecotechnology, natural resources management, and post-harvest value addition should be given priority. The fisher-friendly application of modern mobile telephony is an exemplary transformational role of information technology. Empowerment of women in agriculture is imperative. Farmer-to-farmer learning will accelerate progress in technology, dissemination, and adaptation. Science and technology are the prime movers of change. The Green Revolution was a technological transformation of our agriculture involving the design by scientists of a new plant architecture which can make better use of sunlight, water, and nutrients. Modern information technology is transforming the lives of rural, tribal, and coastal families. Yet, we have a long way to go to improve our farming techniques on par with international standards. Dr. Swaminathan's contribution to agriculture research and development has made an indelible mark on the food production in India. His advocacy of sustainable agriculture and call for an evergreen revolution has been recognized globally. The nation feels proud of its world-renowned agricultural scientist, Dr. Swaminathan, the father of Green Revolution. His contribution to the agricultural growth and development is unparalleled. It has led to a consequential effect in alleviating the widespread hunger and poverty, not only in India, but also worldwide. Professor Swaminathan is a renowned plant breeder and scientist par excellence. One of our prime tasks should be to motivate, attract, and retain youth in farming. This requires technological empowerment of young people with new technologies like biotechnology, information and communication technology, ecotechnology, and space technology. We have to produce more and more food and other agricultural commodities under conditions of diminishing per capita land and water resources. This will call for appropriate technologies. There is also a need for making rainwater harvesting mandatory to combat water problems. Nearly 97% of the world's water is seawater. In the context of an increasing water shortage, it is important that we learn to utilize the seawater in an effective manner, both for agriculture and fisheries. I compliment Professor Swaminathan for initiating biosaline agriculture and also for establishing a genetic garden of halophytes. We should learn how to use our natural resources and natural ecosystems in an economically and ecologically meaningful and sustainable manner. I am also happy that you are trying to convert biodiversity hotspots into happy spots where local communities can derive benefit from their bioresources in an economically sustainable and socially meaningful manner. FAO studies reveal that nearly 1.3 billion tons of food grains are lost globally every year, either during production stage or the post-harvest stage. It is high time we sensitize on the measures to be taken and formulate plans to prevent pilferage of food grains right from production stage to post-harvest stage. This year is designated as the International Year of Soil. Government has proposed to distribute soil health cards to all farmers. Soil health requires concurrent attention to the physics, chemistry, and microbiology of the soil. Promotion of integrated nutrient systems involving both organic and inorganic manures is necessary. The year 2016 is the International Year of Pulses. I am happy that this foundation has started a program for empowering panchayats to become Pulses panchayats. I am happy that you have established the first Pulses panchayat at Edayapalli Patti, and this needs the replication. I am told that we are short of nearly 4 million tons of pulses in the country, which we are now importing. I am sure we can easily bridge the demand-supply gap through the Pulses Panchayat initiative. I congratulate MS Swaminathan Research Foundation for organizing this international conference. I am happy to learn that this conference will dwell in depth on the role of science, technology, and public policy in achieving the Zero Hunger Challenge. I convey my warm felicitations to Dr. MS Swaminathan, members of MS Swaminathan Research Foundation, and to all the participating delegates from India and abroad. I wish the international conference all success. I convey my heartiest greetings and best wishes to Dr. MS Swaminathan on his 90th birthday and wish him a long, happy, and healthy life and many more years of distinguished service to the nation in the field of agriculture and agricultural research. My greetings to you all. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir, for your warm words and guidance, and we look forward to your continued support and guidance. To propose a formal vote of thanks, I'd like to invite Dr. Narayan Hegde, Trustee and Principal Advisor, BIF, and Trustee of MSSRF.
Your Excellency, Dr. Rosaya, the Governor of Tamil Nadu, Professor MS Swaminathan, dignitaries on the dais, scientists, ladies and gentlemen. I have the great pleasure in proposing the vote of thanks on this occasion of inaugural session of the International Conference on Science, Technology, and Public Policy for Achieving Zero Hunger Challenge. On this occasion, we are also inaugurating the foundation, celebrating the Foundation Day and celebrating Dr. Swaminathan's 90th birthday. On this occasion, I am extremely grateful to the Honorable Governor, Dr. Rosaia, for sparing his very valuable time and delivering a very thought-provoking, inspiring address, and also recognizing the contribution of Dr. Swaminathan for agriculture and for the humanity. Sir, we are indeed grateful to you for having spared your valuable time in spite of your very busy schedule. And we hope your continued success will inspire us to work further in achieving our goals. I'm also grateful, before thanking others, I wish to recognize and take this privilege to thank Dr. Swaminathan for creating this opportunity for all of us. Dr. Swaminathan, we feel very fortunate that we have very close association with you. You have been inspiring millions of scientists, farmers, students, and the humanity, people who have been benefited by your work. Dr. Swaminathan is a role model because of his scientific excellence, very friendly leadership, and great humanity. Probably he is the only scientist who devoted his earnings, all the awards, for the cause of fighting the hunger. He not only devoted his resources, but also he provided his ancestral property. And in the true spirit, he devoted his body, soul, and intellect for the cause. I think, sir, we are very, very honored to be here today. And we hope we'll have 10, 20 more years of your association and work with you as our leader. We are grateful to the speakers in this evening, on this evening occasion, Dr. Bruce Albert, Dr. Howdy Ruiz, Dr. Sunita Narayan, Dr. Rajiv, and also others in the morning who have spoken about Dr. Swaminathan and about the direction in which we have to proceed for fighting the hunger. We are grateful to our sponsors, the Harvest Plus, ICRISAT, Nirmal Seeds, BISA for providing financial support and partnership. We are also thankful to the Cambridge University Press for bringing out an excellent publication on this occasion. We are grateful to Indo-American Hybrid Seeds for decorating this campus with beautiful flowers and exhibiting the technology, how one can make wonders with all the breeding and agricultural science technology. We are grateful to all the participants who have come from all over the world, different parts of the world. In India, we have almost more than 2 dozens of vice chancellors from various institutions, learned scientists, and your presence has made us encouraged to work in this direction. We're grateful to all the members of the Swaminathan Foundation staff for putting very hard work, not only on this occasion, but for exhibiting Swaminathan's contribution to the world through practical groundwork. So thank you very much once again, all the press, cameramen, news, and all those who have been associated with this function. I'm grateful to everybody. Thank you very much.
Request everyone to please rise for the national anthem.
Superstar.